Greetings and welcome to Q Masterclass on Q Global Market Breadth Installation. I am Sagar Nandi. You already have my detail. Let me continue with the presentation. I hope you can hear me and see my screen. You may let me know using the chat panel. I will continue. Disclaimer, this demonstration is for educational purposes only. I am not an investment advisor. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. I may mention about options trading from time to time. You may refer to the characteristics and risks of standardized options document from Options Clearing Corporation to decide if option trading is suitable for you. In the master classes, we are covering all the Q systems and the underlying platforms one by one. Today we are going to cover how to install Q Global Market Breadth. It is a set of studies used to analyze the market using internals. This is an addendum to Q Global and it runs on Metastock platform. It also uses a specific software provided by Metastock other than the charting platform that is called FIRE. I'll explain how FIRE, Metastock, Q, everything are used together to create Q Global Market Breadth. Topics. This is not a comprehensive training on Q Global Market Breadth. It covers the installation steps for Q Global Market Breadth. Detail on global market breadth studies will be covered in separate session. In today's topics, I will cover market breadth studies, data and platform components, how to download the latest version, how to install it, license activation, how that is taken care of, and then validating that Q Global Market Breadth is installed successfully. Along the way, I will walk through the installation steps. Q&A is throughout the session. Unlike the other Q components, whether it is Q Global, Q types programs, or Q Elite, Q Global Market Breadth installation is a bit more involved because it has several underlying data and platform components. First is data. Data preparation is done using downloader from Metastock. Because Q Global Market Breadth involves a lot of aggregation across hundreds and thousands of stocks. It cannot be done in real time. It is done on offline data, and the offline data is prepared using the app downloader that comes with default Metastock program. The data downloaded by downloader is stored offline on a specific folder. This folder is C:*Metastock data. Downloader can store data in any location on your hard disk. For Q Global Market Breadth, the data is stored in this specific folder, C:*Metastock space data. The downloaded data is organized in a predefined folder structure. It is inside C:*Metastock data and it is organized in subfolders. Each folder or subfolder contains a specific data set. Like There is one subfolder for NYSE, one for NASDAQ 100 data, etc. That is how the data folders are organized. One exchange or one major index. These are separate data sets and they have separate data folders. It needs some effort to create the folder structure and then download the initial data, the historical data, let's call it seed data. It needs some effort to create the structure. So you can do that manually, or you can download the folder structure and initial seed data from the Q download site. That will simplify the folder structure creation and initial dataset creation. You don't have to create them manually. And this is a one-time activity. Only one time we have to create the folder structure. So what we can do, we can get the entire folder structure and the initial seed data from the Q download link, put it into the C:\Metastock data folder. While doing that, if you had subfolders with same names before, same names like NYSE, NASDAQ 100, etc. If you had folders with same names before under C:\Metastock data, then you may delete them first before copying the downloaded folder structure and seed data. Why you may have similar name folders under Metastock data folder? One reason could be that you installed earlier version of Q Global Market Breadth, and therefore some folder with same name may already exist there. Another reason could be that you did not install Q Global Market Breadth before. However, you used offline data for your own trading, and you happen to store the offline data with same name folder under the same C:\Metastock data folder. So if you use those same names, exact same names, NYSE, NASDAQ 100, as used by Q Global Market Breadth, then you happen to store them exactly in the same location, then you have to move those folders to different location and let this specific folder, specific names be used by Q Global Market Breadth. Once the seed data is downloaded, the latest data is then downloaded daily by running Metastock downloader. And for Metastock downloader to download all the data accurately, the folder structure in downloader has to know what we want to download. So we have to set up the folder structure in downloader to be the same as the one under C:\Metastock data. So C:\Metastock data has a folder structure where we store data, and we want to tell downloader about the exact same folder structure. So the folder structure is actually present in two locations. One is C:\Metastock data, that is where the data is stored, and it is also specified in downloader that download in this location. All the locations are to be covered in C:\Metastock data as well as in downloader. Creating the folder structure in downloader is a one-time activity. I will show how to add each of these folders one by one into downloader. Once you do it one time, you don't have to do it again. You just have to run the downloader every day or whenever you want breadth charts to be updated. You just run downloader and you run it after the market close. I have seen that Metastock provides downloadable data maybe after 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for stock data. However, for some of the index data, like maybe NASDAQ Composite Index, the data seems to come after 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Therefore, to be on the safe side, you may download using downloader for the USA market after 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want more accurate information, exact time after which you are able to download, you may please contact Metastock. But I have seen, I'm in a different time zone. When I wake up, I have seen that if I run it at my 7 a.m. now, which is 7 p.m. EST, then all the data are downloaded properly. That is how we prepare the data. We create the folder structure, we create the subfolder structure, we get the seed data, we tell downloader program what to download, and then run downloader every day after the market close. That prepares the data. Continuing with data and platform components, after the data is downloaded, breadth calculation requires aggregation, data aggregation. Data aggregation is done using FIRE. It is offered by Metastock, but not part of default Metastock charting program. It's a separate component, an add-on component. It works with Metastock, but we have to purchase it separately, one-time license fee. If you are using Q Global Market Breadth, you already have FIRE and Metastock both. The downloaded data is aggregated using FIRE, an application from Metastock. FIRE is used for custom index calculation as well as for breadth studies. It is used for two purposes. Both are aggregation of different data. One is custom index, that is aggregating data for multiple stock prices to create a custom index, and another one, breadth studies aggregation, are calculating different market internals. Custom index is not internal, it is price move, but aggregation of price of multiple stocks into a custom index, and breadth studies is aggregation of internals across hundreds or thousands of stocks. One example of custom index is market breadth total view index. That's a custom index. Mega cap top 20 is also a custom index. So mega cap top 20 is a custom index created from the 20 biggest mega cap stocks. It can be for USA market, it can be for India market, but mega cap top 20 is the top 20 mega cap stocks, custom index from that. And market breadth total view index is a special custom index that is used to draw the candle chart on market breadth total view. Market breadth total view is calculated for USA market using the two composites and four major indices, and the custom index is also based on that, the two composites and four major indices. And breadth studies examples are new high low, aggregated, for example, over NASDAQ composite, or over NYSE composite, or over S&P 1500 or 500 Dow Jones Industrials. So new high low is an aggregation of all the new highs minus all the new lows for a particular data set. And these data sets were the data sets that we downloaded using downloader earlier. So they aggregate across those data sets. Up-down volume is another example of breadth studies. These breadth studies and custom indices are used to plot the Q Global market breadth chart layouts. I'll come to the chart layouts later. Now, when we aggregate data using FHIR, what do we aggregate? FHIR is a very flexible program. It can aggregate many things, hundreds of aggregations it can do, but we don't need all those hundreds of aggregations. We need only specific aggregations for Q Global market breadth, and we have to specify what are the aggregations we want FHIR to do. It can be set up manually, but manually setting up is a bit difficult. Instead, you may use the initialization file that comes with Q download and put it in a specific folder. You just have to copy the initialization file, put it in a specific folder. That will tell FHIR that only these aggregations are to be carried out. And this is also one-time activity. So first we download data, then we aggregate using FHIR. We tell FHIR what is to be aggregated. And then we have to also tell FHIR aggregation is done across which data sets. Like I mentioned, new high low, it will be new high low not across all stocks in the USA market, but new high low of, for example, NASDAQ composite, or new high low of NYSE composite, new high low of Dow Jones Industrials, new high low of India's NSE exchange. So we have to tell that also to FHIR, that when we aggregate data, we tell what calculation is to be done here. Then we also have to tell which data lists or data sets are to be aggregated. Now these data sets or folders were created first, and then we use downloader to download data in them. So downloader has made sure the data sets have up-to-date data. Then we are aggregating, but exactly what to aggregate by FHIR, that is picked up from Metastock data lists. So FHIR and Metastock work together. That means we also have to set up the data lists in Metastock. Just setting up in the C:* Metastock data folder is not enough. Just setting up in downloader is not enough. C:* Metastock data tells where the data is going. Downloader is set up to tell what to download where. And Metastock data lists tell FHIR that breadth calculations are aggregated across which data sets. The same, you may say same information, but it is to be set up at different places for different programs to pick it up properly. So for FHIR breadth calculations, to know aggregation is done across which data sets, we have to set them up in Metastock data lists. How to set it up, exactly how it will look after setting it up, I have provided a snapshot in the download file, and I will show by adding one Metastock data list how to actually carry that out. This is also one-time activity. After that, we have to actually run FHIR breadth calculations, or rather I should say FHIR aggregation calculations, both for market breadth studies like new high low, up down volume, as well as for custom index, for creating the custom indices. And for running FHIR for breadth studies and custom index calculations, there are certain specific runtime settings, like checking on some checkboxes, like specifying the last date for which data is to be downloaded, etc. These are runtime settings Snapshots for these runtime settings are also provided in the queue download. This is one-time activity as well. The settings are sticky. So once you set them, even if you exit Fire and come back in, the settings are retained. So that is called sticky settings. So we have to set them up only once. So there are several settings for getting the Q global market rate, but most of them are done only once. Continuing with the data and platform components. After the one-time settings are done, the actual Q calculations calculate the market breadth and custom index studies using the downloaded and aggregated data. Data was downloaded using downloader, it was aggregated using Fire, and then Q has its own calculations to get the breadth studies and custom index studies ready. What are these calculations? These are formulas in Metastock, and they are set up on your computer by running the exe file application, which is provided by Q download. So one time we have to run the application to get the Q calculations in Metastock. What are these calculations? These are calculations for breadth studies like percentage above 50-day moving average, calculation of accumulation distribution count, 3-month new high low, or simple new high low, up down volume, advanced decline. Those are also Q breadth studies. And then also HSI like studies like Hindenburg, Bingo, Bango, Eureka, Phoenix. Probably all, if not most of you, are conversant with this terminology. They are covered in more detail in Dr. Jeffrey's classes, but I will also cover them as well as I can when I take the next session, detailed session on Q Global Market Breadth. This is only for installation. So we set up the Q calculations for market breadth by running the application.exe file that comes with Q download. That is one time. And finally, Q plots the calculated breadth and custom indices on Q charts. The chart layouts for market breadth and custom index studies are provided in the Q download. Breadth charts, example, USA market breadth total view, USA composite indices market breadth, USA major indices market breadth, etc. And custom index charts, example, USA mega cap top 20, USA leader, etc. So all the breadth studies are provided as Metastock layouts. You just have to open the layouts after downloading the data, after running Fire calculations. After those two steps are completed, you just open the layouts and you will get all the breadth studies as well as custom index studies in Q Global Market Breadth layouts. Now let's see where from to download the files. That is from the usual location. If we go to www.sagarnandi.com and click this download button, green download button, Currently it's green. I don't know, it may change sometime or not in future, but it will be the same symbol, download button. That will take us to the download page. And once we log in, I have already logged in using my user ID password. We have this component, Q Global Market Breadth. If you click that, it will download a file. In your usual download folder. on your computer. So Q Global Market Breadth, this is applicable for Metastock 17.5 version and FIRE 2.0 version. Those are the latest versions of Metastock and FIRE, and this download was created on 4th December, very recently. So I have already downloaded the Q Global Market Breadth installation file. Q Global Market Breadth is dependent on Q Global indicators, etc. etc. meaning maybe expert, advisors, etc. Therefore, Q Global is essential. So if you are using Q Global Market Breadth, you already have Q Global installed. Without that, Q Global Market Breadth will not be able to plot the studies on the chart layouts. You have Q Global already if you are using Q Global Market Breadth. So we have this location to download. How to install from the download? Before the installation, backup. Backup what? You may backup the Metastock system. How to backup Metastock system? I covered that in an earlier session on Metastock basics for Q Global. Just to be on the safe side, before installing any new Q version, we always run a backup. It's a single click backup in Metastock, very easy to do. So we'll run the backup. Then the step-by-step install instructions are there on my website under the category Q install, and then for the subcategory Q Global install. Let's look at that location. If we go to sagarnandy.com, then we see the Q install category here. Click Q install. Then we have different subcategories, Q Elite, then Q Global install. If we click into the subcategory Q Global install, then you will see one topic is how to install Q Global Market Breadth. There are step-by-step instructions in this topic on how to install Q Global Market Breadth. However, you may also, of course, refer to this video. This video will be saved in YouTube, so you may refer to this video as well. Let's go back to the presentation. So we have the installation steps there. However, you may also use this video for installing. Fresh versus incremental installation. Similar to Q Global or Q Elite, if you want to do complete fresh installation, you may remove existing components first. Remove only elements starting with prefix Q MB, MB for market breadth. It is not required to delete general Q elements. General Q elements means elements that are required for Q Global. Those don't have MB in the prefix. Any element, what is element? Element can be an indicator, it may be an expert advisor. If those elements have the prefix QMB, then they are used by Q Global Market Breadth. And you may delete only those if you want a fresh installation. You don't need to delete the general Q elements. What are the components to be removed for fresh installation? One is the chart layouts that are used to actually plot the market breadth custom indices. And then inside Metastock, we have only two elements to be deleted: expert advisor and indicator. What are these? You may remember I covered them in an earlier session. You may refer to that video if you need. That session was on Metastock basics for Q Global. Remove all expert advisors and indicators that start with QMB, not Q, but QMB. That will remove older instances. When removing, remember to keep one minimum item in case clearing Q components will leave the empty lists for Explorer, etc. Explorer, expert indicator, etc. But that will not be the case for QMB element deletion, because we'll always have elements with Q prefix for Q global. So this will not be usually applicable. You will always have one item left even if you delete all QMB items. That is if you have already installed Q global, and that is the proper sequence. We install Q global first and only then install Q global market. Okay, so we run a backup. If we want fresh installation, we delete the existing components. That means components starting with QMB. What are those components? Expert advisors and indicators, and also the chart layouts. Then we install the different items contained in the download file. So here I have indicated what are the content types and what to do with it. There is one application.exe. We run it. Of course, we run it. It is exe. What does it do? I mentioned earlier, it sets up the QMB calculations. So these items with QMB prefix, what are the items again? Expert advisor indicator. Those are set up in Metastock by running this application. What next? There is a data download link. Use this link to download the folder structure and seed data and put it in appropriate folder. Okay, let's do it one by one. Let me do it one by one. Let's run the application first. This is the downloaded file. If I double click it on it, it's a zip file. Then there are several components. One component is Q Global Market Breadth application. And if you look at the type column, that is the only application. What do we do with the application? The presentation told, if we look at the application.exe file, run it. How to run it? Double click. It will prompt extract or run. Click run. It may give an warning that this is not a program that is often downloaded. No problem. Click more info and run anyway. Then it will give one copyright message. Click OK. It's appearing on another monitor. I'm dragging it to this display monitor. Then it will show an warning that duplicate tools detected, because I already have Q Market Breadth installed on this computer. So it is finding duplicate items. Even if you don't have Q Market Breadth installed, it may still give the message, because some of the items may be common with Q Global. So whether it tells duplicate items detected or not, no problem. If it gives the message, click override. So I'm clicking override, and it is actually popping up on another monitor. It may give syntax error. Actually, there is no error, but because when creating the market breadth executable, we did not include everything from Q Global, because that is unnecessary. Q Global would already be installed before installing Q Global Market Breadth. So I didn't want to install the Q Global components again. However, the Q Global components are required for Q Global Market Breadth, because the application for installation doesn't contain, it may tell there is syntax error, but actually there is no error. Just say continue. Then it showed a progress bar. It came on the other monitor and then it disappeared. When the progress bar disappeared, that means all the Q Global market breadth studies are set up now on Metastock. So let's go to Metastock. If I go to tools, what are the elements that are required for Q Global market breadth? They're expert advisor and indicators. If I go to indicator, I just start typing Q space MB and you can see all these market breadth calculations, many of them covering India market and USA market at present. All of those calculations are there. Q calculations, bingo, bango, Hindenburg, everything. We don't need to know them, but I just showed them that after installation, the indicators came in. And if I go to tool expert advisor, you can see again, there are expert advisors with QMB prefix. They also came in. That means when I mentioned that for fresh installation, we delete the QMB prefix items, what did we mean? We meant that choose the first one with QMB, shift click the last one with QMB and click delete. That is if I wanted a fresh installation, then before starting Q Global Market Breadth, I would delete all the expert advisors and then I will also go to indicator builder. Let's go to the QMB first item. I will click on the first item, scroll down till the last item with QMB prefix, again click delete. That is if I wanted fresh installation. Okay, so that is the step for getting the Q breadth calculations in Metastock. Let's see what was the next step. Going back to the slide. So we have Q breadth calculations in Metastock. Now we have to create the data folder structure. That is a bit tedious, so we don't want to create it from scratch. There is a link in the download file. If I follow the link, it will create the or give me the folder structure and seed data. I just have to copy it to C:\Metastock data. So let's do that. Again, going back to my download file, there is a link file, actually two link files you can see. One for Metastock data USA download link and one for Metastock data India download link. I created separate links because many people are not trading in the India market. They don't need to create the Metastock data India folders. So if I follow, this file actually has a link. If you get this link, copy this link and put it into browser. Let's go to a browser. I'm going to in private browsings so that I'm not logged in. That is simulating the situation as if you are traversing to this link. And if you go to that link, it will start to download from OneDrive a folder structure with seed data. It's downloading, but I have already downloaded. So let me go to, I close this browser. Let me go to the downloaded file. I already downloaded that. That link would download this folder, Metastock data USA. If I double click, what are the folders? One is USA leader, that is used to create the USA leader custom index. One is USA market total view. that is used to create the market breadth total view custom index. And then we have mega cap top 20 that is used to again create the custom index for mega cap top 20. After that, there are folders for 4 major indices and 2 composites. Nasdaq Composite, NYSE Composite, and 4 major indices, Dow Jones, Nasdaq 100, S&P 500, 1500. So these 6 folders are used to aggregate the breadth calculation like new high low, advanced decline, percentage of stocks above 50-day moving average, and when appropriate, Hindenburg, Bango, Bingo, those are market level breadth calculation. So those are done on Nasdaq NYSE. So we don't need to know that. Q will do it itself. I am explaining the folder structure, what is in which folder. At the top, there is one more folder, Q market breadth. It contains some of the market level indices that is used for plotting. So we download that also. These are used for custom indices. The last 6 are used for breadth calculations, and Q market breadth has some of the ETF or indices that are used to plot the chart layouts. Now that is where the folder structure already is in the download file. And if I double click on one folder, you can see there is a data file also. If I go back, go to NYSE, there is actually a data file. This is a Metastock downloaded, that is downloaded data file with seed data. So I don't have to create all those. I can simply copy it and put it where? Go to C:, Metastock data, and okay. If we already have the folder structure, we may delete them first. So all the ones with USA prefix, because I got the data set for USA, all the ones with USA prefix, I can delete, press the delete key, and then drag from the left and drop to the right. That is going to drag from the downloaded folder structure seed files to my C: Metastock data. But I will not do that now because I have downloaded already the latest data beyond the seed data. I don't want to download again. I have the latest data. That is why I'm not copying the file structure seed data again. I have more up-to-date data, but you would do that if you did not already have the exact folder structure under C: Metastock data. Okay, let's continue. So we got the we got the Q calculations. We downloaded the folder structure and seed data. Now we have to set up the Metastock local data lists. There is a snapshot for that. Remember, I mentioned that FIRE refers to the Metastock data list. So we have to set up the Metastock data lists. How to set it up? There is a snapshot for that. Let's refer to the snapshot and then refer to my Metastock installation to see how I have set it up. Again, go to download, go to the Q Global Market, the download, and then there is a snapshot for Metastock local data lists. See this Metastock local data list. I have already opened it. This is how it will look on Metastock. So under Metastock Power Console, if we go to charts, we go to instruments and local data lists. See, these are the data lists that are used by breadth calculations. They are not used for custom indices. Therefore, for USA market, remember the 6 folders that I mentioned, 2 composites, 4 major indices. And for India market, 2 exchanges and 3 major indices. So for India, 5 items, for USA, 6 items. If you are installing Q Global Market Breadth for use in only USA market, then you will need only these 6 items inside Metastock local data lists. How to add them? Let me add them on my Metastock. I have them added already, so I will probably delete one of them and recreate one of them. Let me do that. Go to Metastock, go to Power Console, go to Chart, Instruments. Under Instruments Local Data Lists, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for India and 6 for USA. I'm not going to delete all of them. Let me delete USA Dow Jones Industrials. How to delete? If you ever need to delete, right click and click delete. Delete the instrument list. Yes, confirm. Now I am going to show how to add these lists. One-time activity. So right click on local data lists, click new, click browse. In the source folder, if it is not C:\Metastock data, then click browse. Go to C:\Metastock data. Okay, and then browse to Dow Jones Industrials. Remember, this folder structure is already there now under C:\Metastock data because we just now copied it from the downloaded link file that created the folder structure and data scene. So I am going to the same location, C:\Metastock data, choosing Dow Jones Industrials for USA, select the folder. Once you select the folder, the instruments inside it are displayed. No problem, we don't have to check anything there. Click add. So you see, I'm creating the local list Dow Jones Industrials. I refer to the C:\Metastock data folder for that. Click add. It will again show the data list with the list name. We don't have to change anything. Click save. And now you see USA Dow Jones Industrials is back here. In that way, you will create these 6 items one by one, only one time activity. Now, if you have Q Global Market Breadth already installed and you have the names same as you see here, of course, you will not have my Metastock installation. So same name as in the snapshot provided in the downloaded file. If the names are same as you see here for the USA market, these 6 names are same, then you don't have to create them again. All you have to do is go to local data lists, click the checkbox. So everything is selected under local data list, right click and just click once, synchronize checked descendants with local data files. Why I suggest doing that? Because the folder structure may be same, but the constituents of the folders might have changed. So you right click at the highest level and click synchronize check descendants with local data files. It will synchronize and now you have everything up to date. That is if your folder structure here, this or rather the data lists here and matching the names as shown in the downloaded snapshot file. If the names are not matching for some reason, then please delete them and add them back with the proper name as I just showed. You can see why I was delaying this session on Q Global Market Breadth. It is not as simple as Q Global or Q Elite, but good thing is it is one-time activity. Okay, let's continue with the slide. Oops, not that slide. Installation slide. Okay. So far, what did we do? We got the Q calculations in Metastock. We downloaded the data structure and the data sheet. Then we created the lists in Metastock also. Now we are going to get the layout files. Simply copy them to appropriate folder. What is the appropriate folder? It is documents Metastock on your computer. Every computer on Windows has a documents folder. Metastock stores all the layouts and templates under documents Metastock. We have layouts in the downloaded file. We will copy them to Metastock folder. Let's do that. Again, go to the download file. The layout files have the prefix QMB. Where do I have to copy them? Under documents, not C colon, but under documents, Metastock. I already have the QMB files here, but no problem. Simply drag and drop from the downloaded file to Metastock folder. So is replace or not? I could say yes, or I have the latest ones anyway, so I could cancel. But if you are doing the installation from the latest version, 4th December, please delete the old layouts first. That is like a fresh installation. So you may have QMB USA layouts and also QMB India layouts in two groups. You have the prefix. For India, it is QMB India. For USA, QMB USA. Please delete the old layouts first and then copy, because the names might have changed. So I don't want the old and new names to appear together for a particular layout. Then we will not know which one to open finally. So delete the QMB layouts first and get the latest ones from downloaded file into documents Metastock folder. Okay, so we got the layouts. Let's go back. We got the Q calculations, we got the data folder structure, seed data, we created the data lists in Metastock, we got the layouts, and now we have to tell Fire what kind of aggregation is to be done. That setup can be done manually, but it is again bit involved. So we have an initialization file. We have to just take the initialization file, that suffix is .dta, it is in the downloaded file, and copy it into this folder. C colon users username. For me, the username will be Sagar. For your computer, you will have your own username. For me, C colon user Sagar app data local innovative market analysis. They are actually the owner of Metastock. And then Fire 2.0. That is the folder. So let me do that now. Go to the downloaded file. There is a DTA file. This is the market breadth batch.dta. That tells Fire what to aggregate and where it has to go. It has to go under C colon users. For my computer, it is Sagar app data. By the way, if you don't see app data, then you may go to view and show hidden items. By the way, I'm using Windows 11, as you can see. Your computer, if it is not Windows 11, the exact look and feel may be different, but under view somewhere it will have show hidden items. You may check show hidden items if you don't see app data. Once you see app data, you go inside, then local, then innovative market analysis. They are owner of Fire and Metastock, both products. Go to Fire and you find broad market batch.dta. You could rename the old one. So let me rename. You could rename the old one with current date. So current date is 6th December. 21. Do you want to change it? Yes, no problem. Change it and copy the one from the downloaded file to this folder. So we have only the required calculations. The calculations have changed since the last version because the Hindenburg was not coming properly all the time. I had to make some changes. So you will need to update the breadth calculation. So please rename the old file with a date stamp and get the latest broad market batch calculation to this specific folder. That will tell FIRE what to aggregate. Okay, so we have told FIRE what to aggregate, and then we have to specify the runtime settings for FIRE for both breadth indicators and custom indices. How exactly they are to be set up? Let me show that and where to get it from. Again, in the downloaded file, there are two more snapshots. One is FIRE breadth indicator setting, one FIRE custom indices setting. I have already opened those snapshots. One is this, you can see here, FIRE breadth indicators tab is selected. So the setting will look like this. Last date, you put any future date. So I used to put 2022 January, and now we are already in December this year. So I have extended it even more. So 1/1/23. I don't have to change the date every time. Time periods 1000 is enough, unless you want to go back a lot and see what happened when Bingo came, when Bango came, when Hindenburg came, when percentage of stocks above 50-day moving average came below 20%. Unless you want to see that for a lot of past data, for day-to-day analysis, 1000 is enough. Required data on last date? No, because last date we have provided in the future. So we don't check this box. Location for breadth indicator calculations, it is C: metastock data breadth indicators. It will usually be the same location. If you see the location is not same, then please click the browse button and point to this folder. Now these calculations, we don't need to do anything. The calculations that are to be done, or the aggregations that are to be done, these are the aggregations that are to be done, was already specified in the .dta file that we copied into local folder, local app data, that folder. And then we have to check the lists. What are these lists? These are the lists from Metastock. Remember, just now we set up on Metastock 6 lists for USA market. So these are the 6 lists. If you are also running it for India, as I am doing, if you actually scroll up here, this is a snapshot on my Metastock. If you scroll up, you will see the 5 India lists also. So depending on whether you are running in USA or India or both, you will have either 6 or 5 or 11 lists, and these lists will match exactly what is there in Metastock, and you will check all these lists. What are these lists? They are telling FIRE that, okay, you do these aggregation calculations and aggregate by which? By these folders, or the data by these folders. So if NASDAQ 100 has 100 stocks, it will calculate the new high low over those 100 stocks. Then it will also do the new high low calculation for Dow Jones Industrial 30 stocks. Then it will do for S&P 500, 500 stocks, so on and so forth. So here we specify in the DTA file. Actually, if you click the drop down here, you will see all the calculations that are specified in the DTA file. It tells FIRE what to aggregate and aggregate by which lists. Those are specified here. Okay, let's look at my Metastock, how, not Metastock, FIRE, how they look. Okay, this is FIRE breadth indicators tab is selected. Let me hide that. So what we see is what I mentioned just now. I have already changed it to 2023 January, so I don't want to change the date every day. 1000 period is enough. Required data on last date should be unchecked, pointing to the proper folder. All the file calculations are fine. I click the downloads soon, and then you can see for me, I have the Indian list as well as USA lists. If I scroll down, I have all the 6 USA lists, 5 India lists, and here I have the calculations. I don't need to change them. I'm just showing that these are the calculations done for Q Global Market Breadth. Then there is a runtime setting for custom indices. Now you see in this snapshot, custom indices tab is selected. Again, the last date I have already set it to very future date. I don't have to change it every day. Time period, again, same 1000 is enough. Required data on last date should be unchecked because I have selected very future date. Should point to the folder location, exact same name. If you are not seeing the exact same name, you may click the browse button and point to this name. Keep this checkbox selected, smart adjust the index. And unlike for breadth indicators, which was using lists, the custom indices use folders. Now these folders have to be set up by clicking the add button. So if you are using Q Global Market Breadth only for USA market, you will have these 3 folders only, not lists. This should be in folders. What are these? These are the folders on which custom indices are calculated. They are for Megacap Top 20, the leader index that Dr. Jeffrey Scott recently explained in his video, and I have created that also in Q Global Market Breadth. And then finally, the market breadth total view. So 3 for USA, and you will have 2 for India. Let's look at my computer to see these runtime settings. Going to custom indices folder, and I have already set it to future date. 1000 periods is enough, and I'm looking at the custom indices tab now. Cannot require data on last date because my last date is set to future. Pointing to the appropriate folder, this checkbox is clicked. And now not lists, but under folders, I have for USA Megacap Top 20, Market Breadth Total View, and Leader. And for India Megacap Top 20, Market Breadth Total View. Those are the runtime settings for custom indices and breadth indicators. This is also one-time activity, and they are sticky. Once you set them up and click calculate once. We need to click calculate once to make them sticky. So let me explain what I mean. Suppose I change to 2024 for last date. And if I go to breadth indicators, come back to custom indices, you see it is not retaining the change. But if I change and then click calculate once, luckily the custom indices calculation is very fast. It calculated once. Now if I go to breadth or another tab, come back to custom indices, it retains the changes. So it is sticky, but we have to click calculate once. Same for breadth indicators. If you are changing this to 2023, maybe on your computer it is 2022 now, you may change the date and click calculate once. Of course, breadth indicators will take a while, but that's only for the first day. Once you calculate, it will be sticky. You may close, fire, come back, those settings will remain. Now back to the slide. Running all the processes together. Just now I mentioned that to make them sticky, let me go back to fire. To make them sticky, if we are changing any runtime parameter, we have to calculate once, but that is one time. Every day, I don't want to run breadth indicators, custom indices separately. Instead, I go to tools. I have breadth indicator, custom indices checked. Only these two are to be checked, and I calculate. So to make sticky one time, I have to run them. Maybe the first day I have to run them individually. From second day onwards, I download the data using downloader. Once downloader is done, I come to Fire. I open Fire after downloader is complete. I don't open Fire before downloader is complete. After downloader has completed downloading data, I come to Fire. Don't go to run here separately. Go to tools. Make sure these two are checked. Again, it is sticky. Once you check them, they will remain. Click calculate. Then it may take 15 minutes, half an hour, depending on computer. So I just let it run and come back. Maybe after half an hour, after having a coffee, tea, something, I come back, and then the breadth calculations are done. After that, what is to be done? Let's see, go back to the slide. After that, that is all the installation and daily running. After that, we just have to open the layouts. Now, as you remember from Q Global sessions, that if there are multi-chart templates, and there are some multi-chart templates, actually layouts for market breadth, like the composites templates, not templates actually, strictly speaking, they are layouts. Remember the difference between layouts and templates? In Metastock, templates don't have any symbol associated, but layouts have. So all the breadth studies are actually layouts because they have symbols, either the indices or custom indices. They are embedded as part of the charts. That's why they are layouts, not templates. So if we have multi-chart layouts and we have them, then you may fit them to your monitor size and save them once, first day. After that, you don't need to resize them and save them again. First time, you will, of course, resize them if your monitor is different size from my monitor. And if you wanted, you could put them on the custom toolbar on Metastock. How to add items to custom toolbar in Metastock, I covered that in the session, Metastock Basics for Q Global. And it is not required, but if you wanted, after the install, you could backup. Backup what? Backup Metastock. Again, it's a single click backup, no harm backing it up. Remember again, why the backup is useful? For two reasons. One is, if something gets messed up on your Metastock instance, you may recover from the backup. Another very useful reason is that if you have multiple computers, and every one of you have many computers on which you run these trading programs, you may back up from one computer and then restore from another computer. That is another reason to back up. No harm backing it up once after the installation is complete. What after the installation? What about license activation? Do we need anything? No. For Q Global Market Breadth, we don't need to do anything separate for license activation because it uses the license activation of Q Global. So when we installed Q Global, as you may remember, we set up the hardware ID of the computer on the license page, which is same as the download page. And that same licensing is used by Q Global Market Breadth. So we don't need to do anything extra for Q Global Market Breadth license activation. Validation. After the first time install or updated install, close Metastock, close Fire, open Metastock. If you have not run downloader today or the day on which you are installing, download the data first, the latest data. After downloader has completed, open Fire. I showed just now how to run all the fire calculations from a single tab. What are the calculations for fire? One is breadth, one is custom index. Once both of those are complete, then open the Q Global Market Breadth layouts and make sure they're displayed properly. Then your installation is complete. Now, USA market is still open, so I'm not going to download it, but I did run the downloader just now for the India market. So let me show. This downloader is an app under Metastock. If I go to Metastock tools, you can open downloader from here. Click downloader, it will open downloader, or open Metastock and click Control D. Now downloader is also an app you may run separately without opening Metastock. It is possible, but I have Metastock open anyway. So usually I just click Control D when I wake up in my morning, 7 a.m. That time all the data is already readied by Metastock. So I know downloader can download everything. So I open Metastock, click Control D, downloader opens. In this bottom left, you see I downloaded only the Indian folders and some other folders that are small for USA market. I didn't download the detailed data for composites and major indices because no point, USA market is not closed yet. But just to show that usually you will not selectively check like that on your computer, you will check the top level here. And I am not able to check because I have a dialog open and I am not closing the dialog intentionally. I'll come back to the dialog. But once you check the top level, make sure your use current date is selected. Always use current date is selected and recollect commodities is selected. Not probably required, but I have seen if you click this, no problem. So check it also. Click download. Once you click download, it will go through all the selected folders. Again, for real life case, it will be all folders, not some selected, some unselected. Everything will be selected. Download. Once download is complete, it will show a dialog like this. That's why I'm not closing it. And usually good practice to just check. Let me show the India folder because India market is closed now. You will see records added, this 1111 like that. You don't have to go through every folder for every country, but if you are running for USA market, you may just check one of the USA market folders that are these 111s coming. If 111 coming, meaning the new data for the new day has been downloaded successfully. And when I mentioned that, usually I have seen by 5 p.m. EST, all the stocks are available for download. This is what I meant. That, okay, this is not USA market. What I meant is that if it was USA folder after 5 p.m. EST you run, you will see 111. However, for some of the indices, let me close it, and the indices are in market breadth. You will see some of them are indices. I think the IXIC, this one time I saw that it came only if I ran downloader after 7 p.m. EST. So since then, to be on safe side, I'm downloading after 7 p.m. EST. Anyway, after you run downloader, you will see this 111 in practice. Everything will be checked. Once downloaded is complete, close it. No need to keep it open. Go to Fire, go to Tools. These two are selected. Click Calculate. I'll not click Calculate now. Not required for USA market. Nothing has changed. Market is not closed. And once Fire calculation is complete, okay, let me show. Let me run anyway to show what happens if I click Calculate. It will show a calculation progress dialog. Once the calculations are complete, that will disappear. That's all. So let me cancel it. It will disappear. It will come back to this fire window. That means all calculations are complete. Close it. Now all we have to do is open the layouts. Let's open USA total view. If you see all the colors, all these scary things and not so scary things are coming, then you know market breadth total view is installed successfully. Then of course day to day it will work. If first day it work, next day it will work. On the first day you open all the layouts one by one to make sure they are displayed properly. So what is to be opened for USA market? First is USA market breadth total view, this single chart, very powerful template. Next is USA composite indices. Again, if you see all colors lines coming properly, you may check the last date by going to the last candle, for example, hover on the date, 3rd December. It seems up to 3rd December data was downloaded. That's fine. Today is Monday. Yes, so 3rd is the right day, Friday. Then 2 days of holiday. 3rd day means we know the last day's data has come. Then open major indices. Again, once the chart is coming properly, we know calculation is done. Next, open leaders index, the new addition based on the leader stocks that Dr. Jeffrey Scott identified. And then open megacap top 20. Then it is coming. So all the calculations are happening properly and installation is complete. That completes the installation of Q Global market breadth. Now what I will do, I'll stop the recording and then I will very quickly go through the new calculation, some of them like Hindenburg's, Bingo Bongo. I'll cover them in detail later, but let me conclude the session. But I'll stop recording, but I'll not close the Zoom session. Let's continue on the Zoom session after recording is closed so I can explain the new calculations. But let me say first, thanks a lot for joining me. I will schedule the next session on Q Global market breadth soon. I look forward to seeing you in that. As always, trade profitably. Thank you. Now close the recording. Where to go to close the recording? More.